We are here at Segedunum, which is the very end of Adrian's Wall in a place called Wallsend, strangely. We're going to pop up into this tower and have a look down into the ruins. They've got a reconstructed bathhouse here, so we'll check that out.
Oh, the bathhouse is closed until further notice.
No!
They're renovating it, I think I read this morning.
We'll not be checking that out then.
You might be able to see them renovating it, but you can't access it.
Other than having a look around, the main reason we're here
as for let battle commence,
which is a big cavalry and weapon. So we best get in and pay.
Cause the fog on the Tyne is all mine, all mine. The fog on the Tyne is all mine. The fog on the Tyne is all mine, all mine. The fog on the Tyne is all mine.
oh God, no. Oh shh. Can you turn me the other way? I'm not even looking, I can't look.
You're just checking your brakes, Peg?
Yes.
Yes. We are up in the tower of Segedunum Roman Fort because this gives you the bird's eye view of the fort itself, the reconstructed bathhouse and the cavalry horses that are currently trotting about. So we're going to wander down there and have a good look close up, but I'm just going to point out a few pieces from up here until we get down there.
Please just get me away from the edge.
She doesn't like height, and
Get off your wheelchair.
So if we start on the left, that white building is the reconstructed bathhouse, which unfortunately we can't go in, because that would have been quite interesting to see that. And then just in front of that is the little encampment that's set up for the sword fights and for the cavalry. And just to the right hand side of the bathhouse, so just there is a little Roman garden, so we'll get up close and have a look at that. And then if we gradually move to the right and look down the middle to here, this area is the south gateway to this fort, and then you'd walk around. So if we look at this area here, and then that would be the cavalry barracks just back there. And if we go to the right hand side, you'd also see those there. And just in front of those, this middle section, that's where the commanding officer's house will be. And we'll get up close to all of this. The hospital, the granary, and so on. You can see right out on the river here, this was a swan hunter shipyard. You can still see where the ships went out, and then when Swan Hunter closed down, they found all of this and started excavating it. And just right over there, this is what the fort would have looked like. You can't really see it on that TV, but right over there, just behind those traffic lights, just there, that is a full-size piece of Adrian's Wall. And we'll go over there and have a look later on. And actually, from up here, you can see all the way into Newcastle, all the way into Gateshead, and quite far north as well. Caroline, do you need rescuing from this height?
Yes.
There's lots of information about swan hunters and the ships that were built on the River Tyne here, but you might recognise this one up here. The Mauritania. That's the most famous ship ever built here. So it crossed the Atlantic in the fastest time. Pretty good. Yeah. Shall we head down into the museum part downstairs?
Yes.
Here are some of the ships that were built when this was a shipyard. Mightily impressive. There's currently an exhibition of cartoonists from Borderline Funny, just highlighting the Roman humour in cartoon form. Special attention needs to be paid to the movements of each one of the gates to protect
So we've just watched a little video about walls, which was quite interesting, and now we've found some coins. And also some glass beads. And a runner, which used to be attached to a scabbard sword. These were found when Swan Hunters was demolished. Is the reconstruction of the fort, is that right, Shaun?
It is.
So basically it goes from 5 miles to the coast, and the Roman fort of Orbea, which I've actually been to, I went when I was young with the school.
So to the north of the fort there you can see the barbarian territory. 4 miles to the bridge in the River Tyne in Newcastle. 5 miles to the coast from that direction, and the River Tyne in that direction. But this building that's lit up, just zoom out a little bit. This building that's lit up, that's the headquarters. Then we've got the fore hall, the commanding officer's house, the granaries, the workshop, the cavalry barracks, the infantry barracks, and the hospital. It's a pretty impressive fort. No, we're still in the museum before we head out to see some reenactments. But they've built some, what do you call these? Recreations.
Recreation of what some of the buildings would have been like back in Roman times.
Yeah. So you can see. Let's have a look around at some of these recreations. Oh, a skull. It's a replica skull. That's the word I was looking for, replica. With a sword wound. Wow. And here's a piece of stone. And lots of things that you would find in a hospital. There's some blocks here if you want to try and build a bridge across the River Tyne. And then there's some artefacts dotted around that they found when they were digging the place up. And you can even try building an arch. This is a reconstruction of Hadrian's Wall at full height. Let's see if I can get the height. There we go.
Shaun, I'm feeling a little bit chilly, a bit cold, and this is not doing a very good job of heating us up.
So these are floors and heating things that were found.
What are you pulling on, Shaun? Oh, the strength of you. Is it heavy?
Makes it easier to lift a sack. What is this? This is a model of one end of a granary. So that's what a granary would have looked like. Inside. So this would have been the noises and the sights that you would have heard and had in the barracks, and this is a recreation of a barrack where the soldiers would sleep, and they'd be right next door to the cavalry horses. And this is the casual wear. Because they were always dressed for war, right? Some weapons.
First signed in, took the oath and all that. I had to put in 4 months basic training. Jumping ditches, outlaw wells, swimming through rivers in full armour.
Yeah.
We've made it down to the fort itself. That museum's quite interesting. There's lots of activities and interactive things to do.
Yeah, so much for kids as well, that you can interact with the adults and have a good family day out.
And the replicas and recreations and so on. It's a shame we can't see that bathhouse, because that would be brilliant, I think.
And there's little holes in the wall. When you look through them, it's little miniature replicas of houses and things like that.
But we've popped out now to see the actual fort. All the horses, they're getting ready for the cavalry display, but first off we start with the builders of the wall. And there's a few there. Some of them you can't see. We're going to head over now and see the first.
It's the weapons and cavalry demo.
There you go.
So that goes into there, up to about here. If you go any deeper, your body is incredibly intelligent. When something goes through your muscles, they lock to stop it damaging you further. Your body is very good at protecting itself. So if you go any further, like to there, like they do in the films, you know, they go, and then they go, ha-ha! So the muscles are locked around it, his body muscles are stronger than mine. So again, when he falls over, so you're going about that far, and just to make sure it doesn't get stuck, give it a twist, and it'll also put, it means the hole won't close, and all the little sausages start falling out onto the floor. Or you can go into his neck, because obviously you're wait a minute, means I don't get tired.
A lot of them seem to be rigged further down the scabbard, so if you need to, you can tilt it forward and draw it out in one motion. And the warrior class would have trained vigorously in exactly the same capacity as the Romans insisted their soldiers had to train, to get them used to this technique until it becomes second nature. Because if you put equipment like this on somebody that doesn't know how it functions, they're going to struggle.
To give you an idea of how big the Roman Empire was in the 2nd century AD, these are the list of countries within it. Portugal, Spain, Andorra, Monaco, France, Britain, Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, Germany, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Czech Republic, Slovenia, Slovakia, Austria, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Moldova, Ukraine, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Albania, Serbia, Montenegro, Kosovo, Macedonia, Greece, Turkey, Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Malta, Italy, Rome, San Marino, and Catalonia. Do I not get no applause? Now, how do you make those men work together? Training. Train every day. Practice your fighting 2 hours every day. This builds up what we call a strata, a brotherhood. You learn how to work with each other. Take a step back. And to make sure he doesn't take a step back, I'm there with this. And I personally call it the learning stick. You don't do as you're told, I will hit you on the back of your legs, back of your arms, and back of your head. Especially if you start singing Let It Go from Frozen. Worst Disney song ever. You know what they should do with that, kids? Let it go. Let it go, let it die. But on the battlefield with this stick, my job is to make sure the men stand there and fight. You will not take a step back. Hold the line. And that is my job on the field of battle. Good. Switch. Roll. Now, first thing you would learn while training is actually defense. You don't learn attack first, you learn how to defend first. Because if you know how to defend, attacking is really easy. Do the job in front of you. Now, obviously, these areas I'm telling you, the front, back of the leg, arms. It doesn't really matter when you're fighting like a man like this who's only got a tunic. Basically, that's a game of eeny, miny, mo, where do I poke? You know? You just see here what happens when the tail is put under pressure. Keeping together, shoulder to shoulder, you're trusting that shield to do its job. It's a big door. If you know how to use it, it can be used effectively. This is a weapon. They're trying to tease him. He wants him to push his shield out because he's hoping to cut him across his arm. Ooh. Come on! Let's go!
See, they're using their shields to defend them. That was really interesting. And they really went in for that little fake battle they were doing. That was good. We're going to have a look around the ruins themselves now, and then it'll be time for the cavalry.
Yeah.
We're starting with a quick look in the Roman garden next to the bathhouse. So there's the bathhouse. And then here's a Roman garden. A replica. And they've kindly put a little children's playground in there.
So these are the cavalry barracks. It was originally outlined in wood and then later on built in stone. Is that right, Shaun?
Yeah. And you see these little pits here?
Uh-huh.
That was to collect the urine from the horses.
Pleasant.
Yeah.
I could have done a joke, but I might have got wrong for it.
What?
I was going to say, so that's a little bit of a pee take. Is what's left of the minor west gate, which would be known as the Porta Quintana Sinistra. Is that right?
Yeah, so this gate here, this one right here, this was the main gate to get people in and out, because the bigger gate, which we'll come to, was used for the soldiers to quickly get on the wall. But this is where like merchants and things like that would come.
So this right here is the hospital, or what? The Valle Unditarium. Is that right? Valle Unditarium?
Yeah, it's also where the toilet of the latrine was, and in the middle, you see in that middle green bit there.
Yeah.
That was open to the elements, so it was like an open courtyard. That had a bit of sun in, with a covered walkway to protect you from the rain.
Ah.
It was copied from all of the Mediterranean hospitals. They never changed the design.
Okay. And what have they found here? Because this has actually been covered up as a dangerous site.
I don't know, but over here is the West Gate,
The West Gate.
and this is the point. If we look up there, and we're going to go over there in a bit, this is the point where Adrian's Wall actually joins the fort. So this was the big area where all of the soldiers would jump out.
Uh-huh. That looks like a lot of frog sport.
So this was the original Roman water tank, and it just made sure that the fort had a good water supply, good drainage. It's a pretty deep though, so that's why it's all fenced off for us.
This is where the latrines
Oh
of
yes.
the hospital went into. That's why you can't. That's why it's quite dangerous.
Just think what you were drinking, Caroline.
Oh.
Oh. This area here, this was a four-hall, which was a tall building which ran across the front of the headquarters over here. And it was once thought that there may have been drill holes for soldiers to train in bad weather, but really just for religious and ceremonial, as we've learnt more about. The Romans.
584.
So this building here was the headquarters, and in the middle there you can see the open courtyard. Looks a bit different to the other remains around here, because it was originally excavated in the mid-1970s, using different techniques to what they use now. So there's lots of
Up to about 1945.
just outlines of where the walls were for the bits that have been excavated, and then they've extended it with other stones and things. This one was done a little bit differently.
Shaun, why are you looking so stony-faced?
I'm not. Hang on.
Shaun, why are you looking so stony-faced? Shaun is actually standing in the area where the commanding officer used to live,
Yes.
called the Praetorium.
This was where the rich guy lived. Largest building in the fort. High social status of the unit commander. He was an aristocrat. Aristocrat.
You're an aristocrat now, are you? We just had a look in the tents there. Is it called a roundhouse tent?
No, that would be the Celts. That would be the Celts.
So what is the name of the tent then?
That's just his centurion tent.
He was nice to speak to. He told a lot of stuff, and I held some marbles in my hand because I've lost mine.
Yeah, you've lost your marbles. That's the centurion's tent there. They have a fire inside, smoke all of the meat. But it's been really interesting
It was.
wandering around
Well.
Segedunum, and also just finding out lots of Roman information from the reenactors.
Yeah, I found out a fact that me being in the position I am, or smaller down, I would be free from smoke in the smokehouses or in the houses when they had the fires on, because obviously air rises, and so does the smoke.
The fort itself, really accessible for you on the most part.
On most parts, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit bumpy on the stony parts. I
This
got
is-
a bit stoned.
This is probably the best part for wheelchair access, I think, for a Roman site that we've been to.
Pretty much so far, I would say, definitely.
Yeah. But we're now just waiting for the horses because the cavalry is
We're
about
waiting
to
for
start.
the cavalry to arrive.
The cavalry have arrived.
Callum is trying to manoeuvre around the horse, and Phil is going to try and parry or riposte that manoeuvre. He's using his height and his reach to push down on Callum. Callum is showing at the moment the panoply of a late Roman infantryman with a very heavy helmet. He's got an armed guard or a manica, chainmail vest like myself, and a big Roman infantry military belt to show his status. Now you can imagine if Phil was riding at full speed with a proper metal sword, a single lunge or a thrust would impact on Callum very hard and would possibly bowl him over to the ground. Again, nice. Start taking a good shot there against the shield. And another one. Three out, three so far, not bad, Bill.
That's Segedunum Roman Fort, our first ever visit, and it was fun with the battle commence. We learned quite a lot.
Indeed.
So if you like what you've seen and you enjoy this video, please like it. Leave a comment down below. Tell us what you found interesting. But we want you to keep making memories, and we'll
Catch you later. I got that totally messed up there.
do it again quickly. So that's going to do it for Segedunum Roman Fort and letting the battle commence. We've had a fun few hours here, and we'd highly recommend that you come and check it out for yourselves. But in the meantime, keep making memories.
Catch you later.
The fog on the Tyne is all mine.
There you see, they're defending the cavalryman's defending himself and the hall.